Hey everyone, how's it going? Um, Let me just post this in a couple different places and then we will jump in. Let's see. How's it going, everyone? Hopefully, everyone is doing well. Um, I'm just going to post this in a couple more places and then we will dive in. All right. So how's everyone doing? Bitcoin's back at 18.5. Uh, I guess it's not too surprising, but here we are. Yeah, that's right. I started streaming, so that must mean the dump is coming. I think what it is like, I like to do live streams when the markets are moving, whether that's up or down. But over the last like 8 or 9 months, it's mostly been up, right? I mean, if you look at what's happened over the last 8 months, there haven't been that many opportunities to live stream a dump, right? There just haven't. Um, I mean, there's been some some red candles, of course, but even if you look over the last half year or more, the largest dumps. I mean, look at this March dump. This dump here. I mean, it completely overpowers anything we've seen since then, and most of the dumps that we've seen since then are, like 20% or something, right? And these are daily candles, so it could take place over a couple days. So there hasn't really been a major dump since March, and obviously March was a very really exciting time. Um, Let me just check some of the comments. Glad you like the charts. Do I get out of Ethereum and Link when Bitcoin is dumping? No, not typically. I don't usually if I'm getting out of something, I'm selling out of it when it's going up. I don't capitulate at a potential like local bottom or anything like that. If I'm selling, it's because those assets moved up and just hit like my risk bubble targets, if you want to call them that, and I just sell there. I don't typically I don't typically chase after that. I would say the main time that I might trade out of it would be when if Bitcoin were closing weekly candles below the 20-week moving average, then I probably would consolidate some altcoin positions. But Link would not be one of them because Link has actually outperformed Bitcoin by, you know, like 5,000% over the last 3 years. So that means that there have to have been times when Bitcoin is not doing well and Link is doing well. So I definitely wouldn't trade out of Link, and not Ethereum either. Not at that point. Um, but I could see myself doing it for Ethereum, is what I should say, because I could, if we were to close a weekly candle below the 20-week moving average, then I do tend to try to consolidate most everything back into Bitcoin. Certainly coins like ADA, uh, Polkadot, whatever other coins you guys might have, whether it's like VeChain. I know some of you guys have XLM after I did a video that talked about that one, and people were excited about that one. If you own XRP, if you own Litecoin, those kinds of coins tend to do really poorly once Bitcoin's closing weekly or having weekly closes below the 20-week moving average. Um, so What I want to do before we get into the questions, I feel like it's fair to at least kind of go through the market so I can get my thoughts, because generally I think those will answer a lot of questions, and then from there I can then take questions. So make sure, if you're new here, we typically do things from a more data science perspective, kind of a different approach, trying to provide something new that you won't find other places. There's enough places that'll pull up, Fibonacci retracement levels and stuff like that. We don't do that here. We look at things in a slightly different way. So make sure you subscribe if you're new, give the video a thumbs up, and I'm just going to make the way through the charts really quick. So the first thing we can do, of course, is just take a look at the BLX. You can see this is what I made a video on earlier today, and this again is just the 100-week moving average divided by the 200-week moving average, and speculating that we're basically losing this volatility, right, over time, right, and something like that. So, but you guys can go watch that video if you want that one. Again, the reason why the price is 18.2 is because this just shows the closing price. However, we are aware that the actual price of Bitcoin right now is 18.6. Okay, so looking at this over the macro scale and putting on our regression bands again, let's just kind of take a step back and see where we are. So this band here, this is our Bitcoin bull market support band. So this is what we would want to hold in order to, say, maintain the integrity of the bull market, right? This is what we held throughout the last market cycle. So always know where it is. It doesn't mean we're going to dump to it at any time, but at any time we could dump to it, and so you need to be ready for it. So that's why I always want to know in the back of my head, where is the 20-week moving average? Because at the 20-week moving average, that would be, in the event of a dump, that would be where the bulls would come out to try to hold the line, right? That's where they come out to fight the bears. It's kind of like the last line of defense for the integrity of the bull market. And if the bulls can't hold the bears off, then that's where the momentum can really get going in the wrong direction and can take half a year to recover. However, when you have moments where the bears come out and they're able to push the price of Bitcoin, back down 20% or 30%, 40%, and they get back to that bull market support band, that's where the bears a lot of times will take it, and a lot of times, well, at least during a bull market, that's where the bulls will come out to hold the line. And we had like, I don't know how many videos, probably too many for you guys to count, on holding the line when we tested the 20-week right here. It was a scary time for a lot of people because a lot of people bought in up here, and I would still contend that buying here was okay, right? Buying here was okay. The problem is that for the people that, say, didn't have a position at all and dumped a ton of money up here and then it retraced like 20%, and then you're like, okay, well, what the hell do I do now? Because then you can quickly feel trapped if the price were to trend down. So this was a scary time for a lot of people, and we came out and did a lot of videos and said, hold the line, right? Like, let's stop playing in the sandbox like we have been for the last year or so, failing to hold the line, right there and right there, and dumping down to the 100-week and 200-week moving averages, right? Let's graduate elementary school and hold the damn line, and we did, right? We came out and we held the line. So now that we held the line, what we said could happen if we did hold the line, would that the emotion or the momentum, the sentiment can change on a dime, right? And when I say dime, I don't mean like in a given day, but you're gonna, basically the idea is you'll wake up a few weeks later and you'll see, wait, what happened? Like we were extremely bearish down here. You had the Gap Boys and company telling us we had to go down to 9,600 to fill the CME gap on the daily time frame, and we said no. It's absurd that anyone would push that narrative, because there's no evidence that has to happen during a bull market, right? I mean, and they would say, well, we filled all gaps so far. Well, yeah, we filled all gaps so far because we've been trending sideways in an accumulation phase, right? And during an accumulation phase, when you're trending sideways, if you print gaps, you're just naturally likely to fill them because you're moving sideways, right? You're going up and then back down and then up and back down. So you print these gaps and you just consistently fill them. But in a bull market, you don't necessarily get that opportunity. And that's what we said back then, is you cannot take the risk of not owning Bitcoin because some YouTuber tells you that there has to be a gap that needs to fill. And we said at that time, it's ridiculous to think that it does need to fill. And if you go back and we switch this to the daily time frame, and I know it doesn't shade it in, but whatever, what can we do? We said it would be very comical if this right here, if this, let me hide the regression band, come on. Okay, we said it'd be very comical if this was our last test of 10K, our last opportunity to buy under 10K, like basically like right here. Okay, so we had, I believe it was 6 days. So 1, 2, 3-ish, 4, 5, 6. So maybe these, and as I said back here, right? We did plenty of videos back here saying that it's always dangerous to say that this is the last time Bitcoin will test 10K, right? It's always dangerous to say it because so many people said it for so long and they were wrong. However, we contended back here when we were testing it that would it not be poetic if this were the last test of 10K that we'll ever have for Bitcoin, and it came at the time when we held the 20-week moving average, right? So this was the idea. Do we hold the line? Do the bulls come up? Do the bulls show up and hold the line and tell the bears not today? Or do we kick the can down the road? And the gap was down here, right? It was around 9,600 or so. And we said, would it not be basically Bitcoin saying, you know what, to everyone that was waiting for this point? Try to keep it a family stream here. But basically saying, for everyone that thinks that we have to fill this, we're gonna come down here and pretend like we're gonna fill it, and then hold the 20-week instead, which is what we said is always important in a bull market, and continue on our merry way and never look back. Okay, so this was and this is why we said it's too risky not to hold. And by the way, if you think about it, if you were one of those people that were waiting for 9,600 to buy in, as opposed to just simply buying at 10K, was it really worth it, right? And I'm not saying that to be like insulting. It's just like learn the lesson, right? Is it really worth looking back? Would it really make a huge difference if you just bought Bitcoin at 10K, or had you waited till 9,600? Probably not a huge difference in the grand scheme of things. And that's why it's better, I think, to just systematically DCA into the market when the risk is low, and then just be ready for when stuff like this happens, right? Because you don't know when stuff like this is going to happen, but you must always be ready for these bubbles to occur when they do happen. So we're going to switch back to the weekly. We're going to remove this. We're going to remove the moving averages and the bull market support band. And let's put back on let's put back on this one and see where we are. So this is the regression rainbow. And we like to look at this because it helps us gauge where we are within, say, the grand scheme of the market cycle, right? This way we can see, okay, well, are we in the bubble phase? Are we in like an accumulation phase? Are we still in kind of stealth phase? Or where are we? Well, the first thing we notice, right, is that we've had each cycle, we've basically had different areas where we more or less held as support in that cycle, or where we had some level of accumulation. And you can see that we've had them every cycle where we trended, we were trending up within one of these bands. And this one was this band, of course, and a lot of you guys remember this one from the last market cycle. And I remember, when Bitcoin had that move right there and it started to come back down, a lot of people were not very optimistic at the time because we were looking at it and saying, like it's just going to come back down like it did here. But the difference was that it held the 20-week, right? That was the difference. This one did not. This one held the 20-week, and we were off to the races, okay? So that was, and by the way, we were in this band. Obviously, it's a monotonically increasing function. We were in this band for approximately, sorry, I need to get the date. So we'll do date and time. Let's take it from the bottom of the band to the top. So we were within this band approximately 735 days. So approximately 2 years, give or take a few months. What's a few months among friends? So an extended period of time within this span. And then we go to today and see where we are. And we can see that the market structure is somewhat different than it was last cycle. We can observe that we are spending a decent amount of time within the same band that we did last market cycle. However, there are some key differences. We had a short-term bubble up to the top of this one. We also had a capitulation down to that one. Okay, so similar but short-term bubble, which we've always said short-term bubbles can exist with Bitcoin. It's more or less par for the course. We've had these before, so it's not like this is the first time we've had them. If you go all the way back, in this market cycle we had a bubble that came all the way up here and then ultimately came back down into this lower regression band. So you have to consider that this is not the first time we've had a short-term bubble within the grand scheme of a market cycle. I'm referring to the one in 2019. And I would further argue, even from here, that the bubble in 2019 was more impressive than the one we have today. And the reason is because if we overlay our regression band on here, so the green one that you can kind of see piercing through, and here's the red one up here, if you overlay them, the fair value of Bitcoin, and let's briefly hide the regression rainbow. So from the fair value at this point, the price of Bitcoin was up around 200%. Okay, so for the price of Bitcoin to go up 200% from the current fair value, it would actually put Bitcoin at around $31,000. So in order for us to have in my opinion, right, this is my opinion that I try to use the data for, but if we were to have a move similar to 2019, then in terms of overvaluation compared to the fair value, and the fair value is fit to quote-unquote non-bubble prices of Bitcoin, then we would need to be at approximately $31,000 Bitcoin. And again, if we were to do that, if we were to go up that high, I would still contend that there's probably a good chance that's a short-term bubble, right? Just like it was over here. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Clearly, there are some signs of exhaustion. We put out a video not that long ago. So let's actually zoom into the current stuff. So we're at 18.6 right now. And, we did put out a video basically right before the dump. But I had no idea the dump was going to happen. It was just a lucky coincidence. But basically saying, you know what? Be warned. Be forewarned. Because if you're someone that's buying up here, especially if you're doing something irresponsible, and then you watch the price take a quick dump like this, where it essentially dumped from the top, it dumped by about 17% or so, that can be very scary for people. So I guarantee you there are people in this world that came up here to the top, or they bought up here and then they sold down here, and that's just simply not what you want to do. By the way, I want to remind you, for the people in the chat that like to have a field day when I refer to bubbles, when I talk about bubbles, I'm talking about, there's a difference, right? There's macro bubbles, right? So there's this kind of a bubble that takes us all the way up. But within a bubble, you can also have these short-term bubbles, these micro bubbles that can pop and take you back to the 20-week. So when I talk about bubbles at this stage of the market cycle, I'm talking about micro bubbles. We're not talking about the game, right? We're talking about practice still, because this is still practice. This is not like the final major blow off top bubble in terms of the grand scheme of a market cycle. We're talking about just these short-term bubbles, these micro bubbles that can form and ultimately take us back to the 20-week moving average. So that's what we're talking about here. So with Bitcoin, let me just check the chat, make sure everyone's behaving. Okay, looks like everyone's behaving. All right, so the key thing to watch out for, right, of course, is whether this is, if this is a sustained rally. Obviously, there's a lot of chatter of a dead cat bounce, right, where you have a dead cat bounce where it comes up and it doesn't quite make it to the prior all-time high, and then it dumps back down. And if it did something like that, and if we did go to the 20-week, right, which is always a chance we do. This looks kind of weird. Let's go to the weekly chart. And if we were to go down to the 20-week, then we need to recognize that the 20-week moving average now has rallied on up to almost 12.9K. So in the video earlier today, we said, okay, be on the lookout for where the 20-week moving average is, because it's probably going to be close to 13K. And here we are. We're essentially at 12.9, which is pretty substantial. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if we ultimately end up testing it as support. We will sooner rather than later. I mean, I can assure you of that. But I don't know exactly when that's going to come. And when I say sooner rather than later, I'm talking about, probably within the next couple months or so. It's probably not going to take us like a year to test the 20-week moving average again. The 20-week moving average is moving up rather quickly. I mean, if we continue this rate, it's not going to take that long for it to get above 15K, right? Well, we could be looking at a 15K 20-week moving average, in 4 weeks if we continue at this pace. And the only way we could systematically continue at this pace is if the price of Bitcoin were to continue to rally. Because if it doesn't and we stay here, then the 20-week moving average is going to start to trail off like this, and it's not going to chase it as much. And also you have to consider that if you go back 20 weeks from where we currently are, we're replacing this price at 9K with 18K. However, in a few weeks, instead of replacing 9K with 18K, if we're still at 18K, we're going to be replacing, 12K with 18K. So the 20-week moving average would slow down. And the only reason it would not slow down is if the price of Bitcoin starts to rally on up above the prior all-time high. So that's what you want to keep an eye out on. If we start to get stagnant, then we also need to recognize that the 20-week moving average will slow down as well. So that sort of covers it for Bitcoin. We'll obviously take questions. I want to remind you before we take a look at Ethereum and a couple of the altcoins to subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content. Let's try to get to 70,000 subscribers. I can't believe the channel has grown as quickly as it has. We were at like 50,000 subscribers just like 3 weeks ago. So I really appreciate everyone's support. So make sure you subscribe and also give the video a thumbs up if you guys like the content. So the next thing we want to do is take a look at Ethereum. Okay, so we're going to look at Ethereum. This is the coin. It's basically the index for altcoins. If you own a bag of altcoins that cannot outperform Ethereum, then why the hell do you own the altcoins, right? What are you clinging to? If year after year you recognize that Ethereum would have been a better return, because you're basically taking on more risk or more volatility in an asset, and if you're ultimately yielding a lower return, you're paying for a higher return, but you're not really getting your money's worth, right? You're not getting that value. And so because you're not getting that value, then it begs the question, well, why the hell do you hold it? So with Ethereum, we're currently at 587. The local top was around 623, I believe. So clearly that's something to look out for. But as we said before, right, we do not anticipate Ethereum to have a substantial move against Bitcoin until Bitcoin really calms down. And if you look at the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio, as we said before, historically speaking, there comes to be a turnaround point. Historically, it's happened in the last 5 years. We've seen a momentum shift in December or January. And however, the local bottom is not always in December or January. For instance, last time the local bottom was actually in September. However, it was still a pretty decent buy in December and early January. So in the same manner, during this current market cycle, it's possible that and we said this when we were here, that our local bottom will be right here. But that it doesn't mean that Ethereum is still necessarily a bad buy in terms of buying it with Bitcoin in December, because if we were to say rally like this or something, then we could look back and say, okay, well, we were not at the local bottom, but it still was a decent choice given where things were. So what we want Ethereum to do is, well, we want Bitcoin to chill out, right? We want Bitcoin to chill out. You saw what happened a week ago when Bitcoin started moving sideways for a few days. Ethereum started to rally against Bitcoin, and it might not feel like it, but Ethereum is continuing to gain ground on Bitcoin, right? You can see the valuation is back up to 0.0316. The highest we went was about 0.0336. So not too much higher than where we currently are. Now, if you look to see where we went last time, the wick basically went to the kind of this local bottom over here. So this is where we went to. So I think that'll be an interesting point to keep an eye out on. So keep an eye out for the ratio 0.034. So approximately 0.034, I think, will be an area to watch at least. And if we can break that, then maybe we can rally on up to 0.04, 0.043. If we do rally on and back up, if we were to rally to the local top from the summer at like 0.04, and with the current price of Bitcoin, we're probably talking about an $800 ether if Bitcoin were to stay constant, right? I mean, this is a big if, and I don't know. I mean, the price of Bitcoin, we know the one thing it's going to do is not be constant because it's an asset and it fluctuates. But if it were to stay constant at 18.5 and we multiply that by 0.4 or 0.04, let me give you guys an exact number so I'm not just completely talking out of my, let's do 0.04 times 18.5. So that would put it at a $740 ether. And if we were to rally a bit higher than 0.04, say 0.043, 0.042, then we might be looking at approximately an $800 ether. But again, these things don't happen overnight, and I want to remind people these things do not happen overnight. These are key momentum shifts in the market, right? This one is Ethereum trending down, bottom, double bottom, and then this one is Ethereum trending up, right? So it's not a daily game. It's more of a momentum shift game. And by the way, in my opinion, this is more lucrative than day trading. I know some of you like to pretend like you make a lot of money day trading, but it's a lot less stressful, in my opinion, to just at least try to time these momentum shifts. Obviously, there will be occasions where they might not work out exactly like we want them to. But I think in terms of looking at moves like this, back when we were over here, we said, okay, you know what? We don't know where the bottom is, but if we're just DCAing Ethereum all the way down, we're probably going to enjoy it in the short term. Like it's probably going to yield a pretty good short-term ROI. We just don't know exactly where the bottom is, and that's the whole point. So we'll see if Ethereum rewards us again in, say, over the next few weeks. Normally the rally, if you take a look at Ethereum Bitcoin, so this rally started January 13th. It rallied 60% against Bitcoin, or 56%. If we were to rally 56% from the bottom of the candle, that would put us at a valuation of 0.044, which would get us to an $800 ether. If you go back and look at other cycles, right? So this one rallied starting mid-December, and it rallied 300% or so against Bitcoin. This one here rallied about 50% against Bitcoin. This one, and that was also so this one started in mid-December. This one started in mid-December. This one started in mid-January. This one started in early January, and that one rallied 564%. And then the final one, the first one, started in mid-January, and I believe it rallied around 1,800% against Bitcoin. Well, maybe 1,500%, but 1,800% if you take it all the way to like this bottom here. So, we're pragmatic. We don't think that we're going to have an 1,800% return of Ethereum against Bitcoin this market cycle, at least not in one bubble, right? But I want people to be ready for a potential move if Bitcoin in fact stabilizes at these levels and gives Ethereum time to breathe. Because the main times that Ethereum loses value against Bitcoin is when Bitcoin just goes up and up and up and never takes a few days off, right? It goes to work every day, bringing home the bacon every single day, not really letting anyone else take a shift. When that happens, Bitcoin leaves everything else behind. Once Bitcoin cools off and kicks its feet up for a little bit, that'll give other coins like Ethereum the confidence they need to move. Because when Bitcoin's moving, the market tends to just stop and watch Bitcoin. Let's take a quick look at Chainlink. So Chainlink, and if you look at all of these, they're all holding their bull market support. So right, Bitcoin came above it, sideways into it, up, sideways down, hold it as support, and then up. Ethereum, the same thing, right? Let's go to the weekly time frame. So we're going to put on our bull market support. So the same tell as Bitcoin, of course, and that is, come above it, sideways into it, up, sideways down, back into it, and then up. This we speculated that this move would in fact happen, and I think it will continue to happen. I think we will. There's a higher probability that we trend up than down as long as Bitcoin doesn't immediately kick the bucket. So Link is also doing the same thing, but it's slightly delayed. It also had a pretty substantial bubble in the summer that Ethereum and Bitcoin did not have. But you can see that it has been holding the bull market support line for the last several months. Okay, and the 20-week moving average of Link USD is currently at 1234. The 21-week EMA is at 1120. I would watch out for this level. If it gets back down to that level, you might consider it an opportunity if you believe in the integrity of the bull market. I'm not saying whether it should be categorized as having integrity at this point, but if you were to, I think there's a decent argument for it. So if you believed in the integrity of the bull market and wanted to speculate on altcoins, and you saw Link get back down into this level like it has a few times, you might consider it. ADA, my primary hedge against Ethereum, is still doing quite well, right? It's still, and I think a lot of people forget about ADA, but if you take it from the bottom, right, it's up 800%. And if you take it from the bottom of the candles, where you had a decent chance to buy for 3 weeks, it's up 525%. If you look at Ethereum from the bottom of the candle here, it's up around 383%. So are we justified? Am I justified in holding ADA? Well, the justification comes from, can it outperform Ethereum? If it can outperform Ethereum, then yes. It has outperformed Ethereum this year. So I think we're justified. We're still justified in holding it. It's continuing to outperform Ethereum. We know that Link is justified in terms of performing against Ethereum, right? I mean, it's a no-brainer. If you just look at the Link Ether valuation, it would become apparent that it makes sense. I mean, you look at the Link Ether chart, and there's not many altcoins that have that type of a pattern. We are slightly below the bull market support for Link against Ether. We've seen this before, right? We've seen ourselves 40% down from the 20-week. Here we were about 10% down. Currently we're about 20% down. This is business as usual, but as measured from, say, the bottom of 2017, Link has gained 6,000% against Ether. So you have to consider that that's a substantial move, and this is why we talk about opportunity costs. Yes, you can hold coins like Litecoin, and they'll trend up with the market, and when they trend up with the market, I'm sure people will come to town on the YouTube channel and say, haha, I wish you held you probably wish you held Litecoin because it just moved up like 20% or something. And I just, I look at them like what's going on? Link has been performing very well against Ethereum. I mean, look at the Link Ethereum chart. Now, let's do everyone a favor and pull up the Litecoin Ethereum chart. And honestly, I haven't even looked at this one. Look at this chart. I mean, look at this chart, and I don't understand how you're going to argue that Litecoin's a better hold, right? It's all about opportunity cost. If you're holding Litecoin, it means you're not holding something else. And over the last couple years, I mean, look at this. Like from April of 2019, Litecoin is down against Ethereum 76%, right? 76%. So who cares if it pumps a little bit sometimes, right? Who cares? The argument for Litecoin is not that it can never pump, right? That's not the argument. It will likely pump if Bitcoin pumps. If Bitcoin goes to 100K, I could easily see Litecoin going to like $1,000. I think that's an entirely likely possibility that happens. But you have to consider the opportunity cost of holding Litecoin And is it justified in holding it? Well, it's trending down against Ethereum. Now, if you wanted to speculate on Litecoin, which I would not recommend, but again, this is not financial advice. You guys can do whatever the hell you want. If you wanted to speculate on Litecoin, it tends to be a coin that moves after Bitcoin gets to the prior all-time high. So yes, it can move before that, but that's not the argument. Again, that's not the argument. The argument is not can it move before Bitcoin gets to the all-time high. We know that it will trend up in the event that Bitcoin trends up, because Bitcoin has a way of dragging the market up. But this is the Litecoin Bitcoin valuation, and you can see from the peak in February of 2018, Litecoin, or for the Litecoin Bitcoin valuation, Litecoin is down 82%. Okay, so yes, Litecoin can trend up against Bitcoin. Yes, Litecoin can trend up against USD, but for the most part, it will trend down against Bitcoin and Ethereum. The main time where I could see it potentially pumping would be when Bitcoin gets to a sustainable 20K. If we see Bitcoin at a sustainable 20K, yes, there's a chance Litecoin could pump. Yes, you could speculate on it now if you wanted to, and I'm not going to blame you and say it's a ridiculous move. For the last year and a half, I always said it would be a ridiculous move, right? Through the summer of 2019, through early 2020, through the summer of 2020, always a ridiculous move. Now that Bitcoin's knocking on the door of 20K, I can understand why people might want to speculate on it. Am I speculating on it? No. I'd rather speculate on other coins, namely Ethereum, Link, and ADA, if I'm not talking about Bitcoin. So I think that's enough. We'll try to do some questions. Remember, if you guys have not yet subscribed to the channel, let's try to get to I don't even know how many subscribers I have. It's been going up pretty quickly. We're at 63,000, so maybe we can shoot for 64,000. Let's get to 64,000 subscribers. Remember to give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't, the like to viewer ratio is pretty abysmal, about 20% or so not super great. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. And I will remind you before we take questions that we do have a premium list, and I'll just post we have a Black Friday sale for it. So if you're interested in joining the premium list, you'll get access to the weekly reports, the weekly premium videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, so the trading view indicators that you see on here. You'll get access to a lot of those. You'll also get access to the risk dashboard and the dynamic DCA selling dashboard. So check out the Black Friday deal. It's going to go on for about one more week. You can sign up and lock in the lower rate. I also want to remind you, before we get into questions, we also have a Telegram channel, and we have almost 9,300 people. So if you guys are looking for a chat room to talk about crypto at any time of the day, check out the Telegram channel. I just posted it in the comments, and you can also find that in the description below as well. With that said, we'll take a break here, and we'll take questions. If you guys have questions, we'll go through those. And make sure you subscribe and give the video a thumbs up as I read some of the questions. And by the way, if you ask a question and I don't see it, you don't need to spam it. You maybe ask it again a few minutes later, and then if I see it, I'll answer it. But please don't spam it. If you start spamming, I'll just simply hide you from the channel. And the downside is I don't think you're aware that I hid you from the channel, so then you're basically posting and then no one can see it. So please don't spam the channel. Let's be respectful and try to get through as many questions as we can. So someone says, what time frame do you trade? 1 week, 1 day, 4 hour? Usually the weekly time frame. I think I'm more of a swing macro momentum shift trader, not a daily or an hourly trader by any means, because I think it's more of a random walk, not something that I can predict. So I would say more of on the time scale of weekly, sometimes even monthly. Okay, I mean, let's be honest, sometimes even monthly. When's the dump coming? I don't know. I mean, I posted a video a week ago saying, be fair warning. We did see a sort of a dump, but again, not a huge dump because we've come back up. Right, this candle here, this wick. So nothing major yet. If you go back and look at the last market cycle, one of the things you can do to get an idea of kind of the time frame of a dump. So we'll do that because I think it's a decent question. So first of all, we'll say that no one can tell you when the dump will be, right? No one can tell you. I can't tell you. No other crypto YouTuber can tell you because, frankly, no one knows. However, we can look at the last market cycle and try to figure out what was the time frame between dumps to the 20-week, right? So from here, let's say between testing the 20-week here and testing it again, it took 84 days. Testing it here before testing it again took 84 days. Testing it here before testing it again took 70 days. From here to the next one took 112 or 119 days. From this one to the following one, it took 63 days. And maybe if you call that a test, which I'm not really sure if you can, but if you were, say test-ish, about 63 days. Now, so we can see that it more or less is ranging between around maybe 60 days to 90 days, somewhere in that ballpark. So I would say approximate, let's just say 2 to 3 months. Let's say 3 months on average. So let's say approximately 3 months, we would see ourselves at the 20-week moving average again. So let's take a move from here. So we were at the 20-week here, and then we revisited it approximately at this point, which was 84 days later. We've seen a lot of moves that were 84 days apart. If we go again from this test to the next one, it was 42 days, so about a month and a half. From here to where we currently are, we're looking at 49 days. If we were to repeat the 84 days, which we've seen about 3 times, we might expect it to come in end of December, would be if we were to repeat that, and that would basically be 3 months between. If it were to take, say, over 100 days, we could be looking at early next year. But let's be a little bit more pragmatic and say it's going to happen sometime within 3 months of testing the 20-week moving average the last time, which there was a lot of evidence for, testing it about every three months or so last market cycle. So if it were 3 months, then it would put us at the end of December, maybe early January. Now the 20-week moving average now, as we know, is about 12.9K. However, it's going up by about $400 a week. So if we say there's about 4.5 weeks, that's another 18. Or so if we say there's another 4.5 weeks before, well, how many are we at so far? So let's say we're at 42 days. So to get us to 84 days, that would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we were to go, actually that's not where we are. We're right here, looking at the wrong one. So 49 days. So if we were to go, say let's say we were to go to another 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks or so, and the 20-week moving average is moving up by $400 a week on average. 6 weeks times 400 is $2,400. So we know that the current valuation of the 20-week moving average is at 12. Well, this one's not updated. We know the current valuation is at 12.9. So if we were to go up another, say, $2,000, that'd be 14.9. So 15.3. So maybe if we do dump back down to the 20-week in a month, the 20-week moving average could be around $15,000. So I'm just kind of give you a ballpark. Again, I don't know exactly when it's going to happen. We could just look at the prior cycle and see the time between tests of the 20-week moving average and recognize that most of them were 84 days, 70 days, 119, 63, 63. So most of them were around 2 to 3 months. So let's say around 3 months or so. And if we were to say 3 months, then that might put us testing the 20-week at end of December at around $15,000, if history were any indication. So I hope that answered your question. Do I hold all my crypto on exchanges, or do I go to offline storage between trades? Most of my crypto is held offline on hardware wallets. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed to it already, and give the video a thumbs up. Let's try to get to 64,000 subscribers. How much do I consider the strength of a project beyond technical enough? Well, I mean, I wouldn't pick projects that I think are complete duds, right? And that's why I mainly stick to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA. And Polkadot, obviously, we don't talk about Polkadot as much because there's not a whole lot of data to say, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot of stuff to talk about it with. Um, I do spend time myself looking into the projects, but that's not the focus of this channel. There are a lot of other YouTube channels that will go into more of the fundamentals. However, I like to keep this channel focused mostly on just quantitative analysis, something that's not biased in any way. I try to keep it not biased. Of course, you could argue that the interpretation of data can sometimes be biased, but I try to keep it just quantitative. That way, if you guys have an argument with what I'm showing, I can just be like, well, take it up with the data, because that's what the data suggests. Like, I don't control the data, and sometimes people get upset when I take a dump on their pet project altcoin that's underperforming Bitcoin and underperforming Ethereum, right? Don't take it up with me. Take it up with a project that can't keep up with Bitcoin. And if it can't keep up with Bitcoin, then why the hell do you hold it? That's the point. And so, if you want to argue, if anyone ever wants to argue about, and that's the reason why I like to keep it on a more of a quantitative focus, because if anyone ever wants to argue the merits of a certain project, I'm just like, well, I mean, if it can't keep up with Bitcoin and is going to give me higher volatility and higher risk than Bitcoin and ultimately give me a lower ROI, I don't even care about the fundamentals of the project. Just, step aside, right? There's other coins that have, there's racehorses and donkeys, and you gotta try to pick the right ones. And remember, this is a key time, I think, of all of our lives, because the market cycles for crypto can be quite substantial, but we also need to recognize that the ROI is diminishing each cycle. So we want to take advantage of this market cycle as best as we can, because the next market cycle will have lower average return on investment. And because of that, like, this, I think, is the opportunity for crypto, right? In terms of the next 50 years, buying crypto in 2019 and 2020, and maybe even in part of 2021, like, I think that will be the time of your life to look back on and be like, man, I'm so glad I bought crypto during that time. Don't be on the wrong side of history, right? Don't be that guy coming in when Bitcoin is at the top of the regression band, right? When it's at 100K or something, don't be that guy. Some of you guys might have been the guys coming in here, but again, most people, when they start crypto, they come in a bubble. That's what attracts them in the first place. Don't be that guy pouring money into the market at the top. Not financial advice. You can do whatever the hell you want, but I'm just saying, try not to be that guy. Try to recognize where you are within the grand scheme of the market cycle, and saying, okay, an accumulation phase, an accumulation phase, an accumulation phase, accumulation phase, peaks, right? Don't be the guy coming in even at these peaks. Don't be the guy FOMOing into the market when it's already up like 300% in 2 months, okay? Huh. Anonymous says, if you had one shot, one opportunity, would you capture it or just let it slip? Shout out to Eminem, I guess. Someone says he's glad he bought 1,000 Bitcoin. I would be pretty happy too if I bought 1,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, so someone says if Bitcoin goes to 150K, will I be out of the market by then? It depends on how we get there, right? And it depends on what the risk level is. Remember, the risk level is part of the premium list. We have the Black Friday deal. Find that in the description below. It'll last for 1 more week. It depends on the risk level. If the risk level is printing peak, then it's time to get the hell out. And it doesn't mean that definitively Bitcoin can't go above that level. It just means that, to me, it's most likely the top, or at least within 10 to 20% of the top. And to me, it's just not worth the risk, right? If I can sell Bitcoin at 150K, right? Like, I'm running for the woods at that point, right? Take the Bitcoin, I'll offload my Bitcoin to whoever wants to buy it, off to the woods. If it goes to 170K, 180K, fine, right? I don't really care, right? Change the life, create. If you've managed to create the wealth to change your life, don't watch it disappear, right? Would you capture it? And that you have to figure that out now. I guarantee you, some of you guys will Well, watch the market cycle come and go, and you won't take profits. But I just want to I just want everyone to recognize, right? There will come a time, this market cycle, where the market's going to be crazy, even crazier than it is now, if you can believe it. And it's going to be up to you, right? Are you going to take the opportunity and change your life and then protect the wealth, or are you going to get too greedy, say like last cycle, oh, I'll sell at 25K, and then it never makes it there, and then you watch it go back down, right? Avoid that. Make a better life for yourself in the event that we come back up here. And if we do come back up here, don't squander it. Just don't mess it up, because it's a life-changing opportunity. It does not happen very often, just like the one in 2017 came and went. This one will come and go too. Don't miss out, right? Don't miss out on the opportunity. Once you start taking profits, I guarantee you it will become addicting to take profits, because you'll watch your bank account grow and grow, and you'll recognize, okay, like with this money, I can pay my mortgage off, right? Or I can pay for my kids' college, or whatever. I can buy a new car because my car's 20 years old, or something like that, right? Whatever it is, and it depends on what, your own circumstances. Whatever that is, whatever that goal is, like shoot for it. Dynamically DCA profits on the way up, not financial advice, of course, and live to fight another day, right? If you're taking profits on the way up like this, right, you're living to fight another day. If you're watching it come up and go back down, you're not living really to fight another day. You're just basically kind of watching it go back down. You're cringing anytime you open up a crypto app to see the prices. But I guarantee you, it's a great feeling when you're selling up here. So in the short term, if you sell, like let's say last market cycle, you sold some Bitcoin at 6K, some at 9K, some at 12K, some at 15K, and some at 18K, right? In the short term, you might be a little bit upset because you wish you had saved all of it for the top. But you also recognize that we're not clairvoyant. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know where the top is, and we don't pretend to know where the top is. So while in the short term you might regret selling some of it, there will come a phase where it'll come back down, and then you're going to sit back and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I took profits on the way up. Because had I not, and had I listened to everyone on Reddit or crypto Twitter or crypto YouTube that was telling me it was going to go to 500K and it wasn't, or a million and it wasn't, you would have a lot more money. So remember, and by the way, when I talk about taking profits on the premium list, we do it dynamically, which means selling like increasing amounts as the risk goes up. So you save the most at the peak. You only sell smaller amounts at smaller bubbles. And the reason for that is because we don't know how high the bubble will go. We don't know if we're going to get something like 2019, where we come up part of the way and then come back into the regression band, right? This is a possibility. And by selling dynamically, even if you're only selling a small amount here and here, at least you sold some so that you can get back down in here. However, if in 2019 it would have continued to rally to the top of the regression band, which at the time would have been $40,000 or so, you would have just kept selling and you would have sold most of it up here. So basically it would have been like 5/15 of the portfolio there, 4/15 here, 3/15 down here, 2/15, and then 1/15. So basically you're selling a small amount here, a little bit more here, but even these two cells is only 3/15 or 1/5 of the portfolio. Then the next cell would be another 1/5, and then the next two cells would combine to be 9/15 or 3/5. So that's the way I do it. I just scale them linearly so that I take profits all the way up. Hope that makes sense. We'll see. Ethereum's still at 585. Yeah, Bitcoin's at 18.5. Remember, if you guys are new, let's see if did we make it to 64,000 subs. If we did, I'm pretty happy about that. We are at 64,000 subs, so maybe we'll go for 65,000 subs. Why the hell not? So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. And let's keep on going through questions. I think we've had some good questions so far, and it gives me the opportunity to just tell you my candid thoughts on it. Armin says, I remembered you mentioned Ethereum historically dumps in December and picks up in January. I don't think I ever said it dumps in December. I think I've said that it trends down against Bitcoin in the fourth quarter, but it tends to be a really good buy in December, right? It trends down in the fourth quarter, down in the fourth quarter, down in the fourth quarter, down in the fourth quarter. That's not the fourth quarter. This is the fourth quarter. Down in the fourth quarter, but it tends to turn around in mid-December through mid-January. And we said back here that in this could have been the local bottom, right? 0.026 could be the local bottom, and the fact that we don't know where the bottom is, just DCA all the way down, right? And you're gonna get close to the bottom. You're probably not gonna time it identically, but just DCA all the way down. That way, when it does turn around, you're ready to go. Okay, and we don't know exactly where it's going to turn around. You could argue that it already has turned around to some degree, right? If we remove all this nonsense I have on here, you could argue that the turnaround has already potentially started, right? I mean, this is a pretty nice, basically going to the top and then back down. This one went halfway up, back down to the top, and then back down. So this one's starting to go up. So we'll see if this is just like a little bunny hill and then back down, or if we end up going back to the top. What goes into the risk metric? Only just price, time, and volatility. That's it. What else? ID says, is your log regression using fixed parameters, or are they changing with new data? It is fixed, and the reason it's fixed is because if it were not fixed, I don't think it would be as useful. For this one, yeah, it is. It's completely fixed. The last time the data that it was fit to goes through the very end of 2018, beginning of 2019. So I have not refit it since then. Okay, I'm just trying to remove all this garbage on here now because it's clouding up the chart. So let me show you what I mean. So this regression curve that you see was fit through data. Basically what I do is I fit it through the end of like the local, like the bear market low. Because I find that can be pretty predictive for the market cycle. So the data for the regression band was only fit through right here. So if I highlight it, so right here, this was where it was fit through and back only to the non-bubble data. So it has not been refit since this point right here. Okay, everything that came after this point completely. Nothing has been fit to it after this point. And I think it's done a pretty good job of showing the continued upward trajectory. It can sometimes feel like we're trending sideways, but we're still more or less trending up, right? We're still more or less trending up. Hope that answered your question. I'm not going to get a second PhD at the end of this, no. One PhD is enough for me. Chavity says, is Bitcoin and Ethereum enough, or is it smart to also add Link and ADA? I think it's personally smart to add Link and ADA, but my Bitcoin percentage is a lot higher than my Ethereum percentage, which is higher than my Link percentage, which is higher than my ADA percentage. Yeah, I know I said I'd do member-only videos once I got to 250 Patreon members, but I mean, I already do that, right? And we have way more than 250 now on the premium list, so Patreon is just one place you can sign up. We already have those weekly videos every Saturday, or every Saturday or Sunday, depending on the weekend for me. My PhD is in nuclear engineering. I got it in 2018. It was in nuclear engineering. What other questions do we have? Make sure you guys subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Let's get to 1,000 likes if we can. Let's shoot for 65,000 subscribers. Do I think Bitcoin's at the top of an ABC B on an ABC correction right now? I don't deal with this kind of stuff, right? This is garbage to me. That type of analysis. I know you guys it'll probably piss some people off, but I don't really care about that type of analysis. To be completely honest. If you're on the premium list, you get access to the regression bands. Yeah, you do. Do I think it's a bull trap? I don't know. I mean, it might be, but I sure as hell wouldn't be buying Bitcoin at this point, right? Buy Bitcoin when it's down here. Don't chase it into a bubble. As I always say, you never chase bubbles, but always be ready for them. And I don't care if it goes up to 25K or something from here, right? I'm fine with where I'm at. It's, again, as I've said before, it's not about your return. It's about your risk-adjusted return. I already answered the question about the bull trap, so stop spamming it. I was never in the Navy, no. Would I sell Link if it did not outperform Bitcoin? Probably, but I mean it's been outperforming Bitcoin for the last 3 years. I don't know why you need to know where I live. All right, let's stop saying stuff. Some of you guys are saying to never pay taxes. We're not going to promote any type of that stuff here. So if you want to promote that, you can leave. My opinion, pay your taxes. I'm not gonna deal with this stuff. So if you wanna start saying that kind of stuff, you're gone out of here. Is Ethereum, Link, or ADA offering the best risk-adjusted return of the present? Well, it's hard to calculate sometimes for newer coins because they just haven't been around that long. If you were to look at historical data from 2015, right? So looking at historical data from 2015 for Bitcoin, for just Bitcoin and Ethereum, then I don't remember exactly what it was. It changes depending on exactly the phase, right? It's dynamic, of course. But it works out to be about 60-40, right? 60% Bitcoin, 40% Ethereum. That's not my percentage, and obviously that's only if you're holding those two coins. But in terms of maximizing the Sharpe ratio on the efficient frontier, I think it would be 60-40. Okay, Bosa Arthur, you will be removed from the chat for spamming like I warned you not to do. Goodbye to Bosa. Sorry, I'm gonna need to pause the chat so I can actually see the questions. I don't think the gaps need to fill, no. Not in a bull market for sure. And they mainly just fill in an accumulation phase, or because of that we just trend sideways and we just go up and down. Could I get rich off of owning one Bitcoin? Well, it depends on what your definition of rich is, right? I mean, rich is a relative term. To some people, making, if you're in a third world country, making, small amount of money for, say, the developed countries would be considered rich. But I mean, it's based on everyone's own specific situation. By the way, if you post your questions in all caps, I automatically ignore them. Just automatically ignore them. All right, Dreamcatcher's calling me names, so I will go ahead and remove him. So goodbye to Dreamcatcher. Hold on, I gotta scroll back up to see. Okay. Sorry, Dreamcatcher. We just don't. I don't want people calling names in here. Let's try to keep the chat clean. So, sorry. What do I think about VeChain? I think it's a decent project, right? I mean, it's decent. It's not one of the main five that I have: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Linkade, and Dot. But I understand why people hold it. How are the kids? They're fine. Can I talk more about the Bitcoin Link relationship? We've done that a lot. I have a lot of videos on this. So I would go, and I have a lot of custom chart videos. So I would go look at those because it's hard to talk about it when I'm just looking at TradingView. But when I have my own charts up, there's some pretty clear trends we can talk about. I think it's a pretty nice relationship, right? I mean, it generally trends upwards. Yeah, if you're looking to change your subscription on the premium list, you just need to go to the contact me page on the website and reach out to me through there. Obviously, I can't really follow it through the YouTube chat, so you just need to send me an email. All right, Ultimate League replays. Goodbye for spamming. Sorry, I can't. It's hard to. No, sorry. If you do the premium stuff, we don't do one on. I don't do one. I don't have time for one-on-one stuff, unfortunately. I'm just gonna look at the chart again, see where we are. So Bitcoin's at 18.5, Ethereum's at 584. We'll switch over to say like a 15-minute time scale to see what's going on. So here we are for Ethereum. This was a pretty nice move earlier today, right? A rally from 550 up to 590. We've come back down to 584. No, I did not get a degree in finance. I got degrees in math and engineering. No, this don't. We're not gonna shill different exchanges here, so don't do that. At the 10K, I don't know. We'll see about that. Maybe it can get close, but probably be out of the market by then. I honestly I can't even keep up with the chat. The questions are just flying through. Yeah, we do. The subscription mainly talks about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA. So Fillier says he just wants you guys to pump his bags. I'm not really sure what you're talking about, but goodbye. What more is there to say? You know what I need to do? I think in 2021 I'm going to start doing some premium list only live streams because it's so hard to follow some of this stuff. Like what coins are the best buy right now? I mean, it depends on what what I guess your own situation, right? If you don't own any Bitcoin, I would always recommend getting Bitcoin first. But obviously, Bitcoin has rallied, so you would want to be cautious. However, if I didn't own anything, I probably would start with Bitcoin. Yeah, we looked at XLM on one of the videos recently. It seems to have a pretty good ROI as measured from the local bottom in March. I mean, I'm trying to answer the questions. I need to pause the chat to see them. Like, okay, like if I pause the chat, right, and these are the comments that I'm reading. So you guys are reading the same thing as me. 3-day chart analysis. Pump it. Bitcoin is daddy. Someone says, I was going to ask for premium list only live streams. Great idea. Will you do one-on-one in the future for premium? When the market's down, maybe. Someone says, don't worry about altcoin. Spamming crop questions, guys. Laugh all out. Everyone's keeps asking the same question over and over. Someone says XMR question mark. Yeah, XMR was doing well. Bitcoin started rallying, so it hasn't been doing quite as well recently against Bitcoin. It's holding up against USD so far, but not so well against Bitcoin. Someone says thanks for all you do. Someone says Bitcoin price prediction. We have plenty of those on the channel. Using super chat, or someone says, is ZIL outperforming Ethereum, or is it similar to Ripple? I don't know. I haven't checked that one recently. Scott says using super chats might help. We don't do super chats here. Keep your tips to yourself, because I think you should invest them rather than wasting them on a super chat. let's see. Okay, let me go back. Can I put slow mode on the comments? Probably. I'm not really sure what slow mode does. Does it just make it so someone can only put in a comment every so often? Like, what does slow mode do exactly? Gold down again on the new day. Yeah, I did see that. We talked about it a little bit earlier on the premium list. Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin, and eventually all Bitcoin transactions will be on Ethereum. I would agree that the ROI of Ethereum will likely be higher than Bitcoin this market cycle, but there will also be more downward volatility for Ethereum as well. Thoughts on OMG? I have zero thoughts on OMG. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert at everything because there's just some coins I don't follow, and if I don't follow them, I'm not going to pretend I know enough about them to talk about them. Someone says, best crypto channel, thank you. Other channels use Super Chat to ask questions. Use it. No, thank you. I don't know what I think of that indicator. Yeah, okay, I'll change it to slow mode. Thoughts on Ethereum 2.0 and its impact, if any? Yeah, I mean, I think it will have an impact, but at the same time, I think that most people don't buy it based on what it will ultimately... I think most people just don't care about it, frankly speaking, right? Most people just don't care about it. But it obviously will be a pivotal moment for Ethereum and arguably one of the biggest moments in cryptocurrency history. Someone says, Jameson, bummer. You can slow down chat responses. Pump it, baby. Laugh out loud. Ah ha ha. What do you think about investing in uranium? That's a completely ridiculous question. Do you know anything about a project called Token Sets? No, I've heard of them, not using them. People will know about HBAR after it's too late. Okay, that's great. Get mods for the chat. I probably should do that. Someone's laughing their butt off. 32 Ether. You'll lose your mind trying to follow the chat. When's the best time to convert Ether to Bitcoin? Well, I mean, we have a risk metric for it, but I don't know. I mean, if it comes back up here, maybe that would be a good time. How's my day going? Thanks for asking. It's going pretty well. Someone says Bitcoin's pumping. Let's see. It's still at 18.5. Two-digit IQ chat questions. I'd agree. Slow mode. Is there an option to slow down the chat? Probably, but I'm just too lazy to do it right now. Do you think the market can fall a little more in the short term? I can't predict short-term moves. What is your career? I work in computational material science. Any books you'd recommend for data science? Nothing particular, honestly. I mean, there's some numerical analysis books that I use, but someone says XRP to the moon. Good luck. How come I stopped talking about Nano? We did a few videos on Nano a while back, but we haven't done any of those in a while. I would agree. We have not done any of those in a while. I think Nano's main competition will be stable coins, honestly speaking. And the last time I posted about that, a lot of people got mad. That's just what I think. Its main competition will be stable coins. Chainlink, up or further down? Over the macro scale, probably up. In the short term, depends on Bitcoin. Someone put a heart. How was my Thanksgiving? It was pretty good. Is there a criteria to add a new coin to Bella? Mainly, I just want to keep it to a few coins so that we can really accurately, talk about the momentum shifts between the coins. Oh man, now that I moved the mouse and now it went all the way to the bottom. So I forgot where I left off. Can you pay for the premium list with Bitcoin? Yeah, you just go to the website and click Pay with Crypto. Is there a good time to start DCAing into XRP since we're so close to the all-time high? There's not very many times that are good to DCA into XRP, but as I said before, if you wanted to speculate on the idea that Bitcoin gets to sustainable 20K, then I can understand why, right? I can understand why you might want to DCA to it now. Am I doing it? No. Well, I wish everyone good luck if it goes up. Yes, of course, and it's it's one of the things I cover on the premium list for people who own it. I just don't personally own it. Please review Polkadot. We've looked at Polkadot before. Would we hit the 20-week estimated correction? If we had a significant correction, then probably. Hedera hash graph is very important. Okay. Do you ever DCA into leveraged Bitcoin contracts? I don't talk about that on this channel. Will altcoins continue to rally? They'll rally if Bitcoin cools off. How is the Subaru Ascent? We have not gotten it yet because we had it custom made and it's not arriving for another month or so. Let's take a moment to appreciate the fact that Bitcoin's only 1K away from the power all-time high. That's true. It's about 1K away. I don't talk about exchanges that I use here because I don't want to make it seem like I was paid to talk about them. Have I considered making outrageous thumbnails and titles? I've considered it, and I decided it was a ridiculous idea and that I want this channel to be better than that. Right? Trust is everything. Yeah, it doesn't get the clicks and the views as much as the other channels, but you know, if you're making clickbait stuff, you're going to attract people that click on clickbait, and those are not the people that I want to attract. How long have I been in the crypto scene for? I first got interested in Bitcoin in 2011 because I was an undergrad in math, was taking a cryptography course at the time. Did not buy it in 2011, so a lot of people say, "Oh, you heard about it in 2011. You should be have billions and billions." I did not buy it in 2011. I was an undergrad student at the time. Okay, if you keep asking the same question about some indicator, you're being hidden because you're obviously here to just promote something. Do you think ADA will rally with ETC against Bitcoin? I don't really talk about ETC, so I have no idea. Sorry, I lost my place again. I'm trying to do everyone a solid here and go through the questions one by one, so then you guys can't claim I'm picking or cherry picking questions, right? I'm literally going through each one, but every once in a while it like jumps down the chat because I guess I'm getting too far away or something, and then I lose where I am, so I just scroll up a bit and continue going. Link prediction for end of the year. I don't know. What's your take on Tether market cap growing fast and being backed by USD 1-to-1 and the theory that it's blowing up the price of Bitcoin? Do you see that as a big price risk going forward? No. How do we access your Ethereum Bitcoin chart in Premium? I mean, you don't need Premium to access an Ethereum Bitcoin chart, right? I mean, just go to TradingView and type in ETH BTC and you'll get the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, and then you just draw the lines, right? There's nothing special about these lines. Sorry, I'm not reading some because they're just compliments for people saying thanks for not making clickbait videos, so I'm just skipping through those. I am working in my PhD field. I'm working in computational material science, which is basically what I did during my PhD. Yeah, I mean, any thoughts on the obviously I have thoughts on the dollar's value. Typically it goes down, or typically if Bitcoin's pumping, it implies that the dollar is losing value. When will brick and mortar retail shops accept crypto? Well, I mean, given the state of the country or the world right now with the pandemic, they probably have bigger problems to worry about right now. What do I recommend for people to study in free time? Chess openings is a good one. We sometimes play chess on the stream, so maybe study a chess opening and we'll play. For how long will altcoins mirror Bitcoin until they move independently? Until Bitcoin, there's not a specific time, right? It's just until Bitcoin goes sideways. at this level. If it goes sideways, altcoins will rally. If it doesn't, they won't rally against Bitcoin. Most likely. My chess elos are on 1700. You know, honestly speaking, like I'm very much into board games. I don't know if you guys can see my my board game collection back here, but I when I was a kid, I would play board games all the time, and as I got older, I'm like, okay, like I feel like I've gotten pretty good at board games. They're all about strategy and stuff. Now, like, how do I apply this to actually something that is more directly useful in terms of, you know, something that can actually provide more value than just, like, say, the temporary value of winning a board game? And so here we are applying it to markets, trying to use, like, you know, various strategies, applying it to markets, trying not to get checkmated by Bitcoin, right? We want to checkmate Bitcoin. We don't want Bitcoin to checkmate us, right? And the way that Bitcoin checkmates you is if you're the guy buying it up here, right? And you buy it up here, and then you wake up and it's down here, and Bitcoin says checkmate, right? Don't be on the wrong side of that checkmate. How can calculus be applied to crypto? Well, I do have some videos where we take like derivatives of moving averages. So derivatives are pretty basic calculus, but I mean arguably hardly. But you know, that's maybe one way. Real news, I will remove you from the channel for being a troll. My chess rating is 1700. I already said that. Do I ever trade linked to Ethereum? Yes, I do. Do you think this pullback in Bitcoin is enough for a sustainable melt up? Maybe. I've not watched the Queen's Gambit, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. How do I apply chess openings in the market? No, it's just basically like saying, you know what, like every move that you make needs to have a reason, right? And in a chess game, every move, every piece that you move has to have a reason for it. So if you think about that in terms of the markets, right? If you're moving money from, say, one crypto to another, there has to be a very strategic reason why you're doing that. So that was all I meant by it. Probably honestly would not do a collaboration with too many other people, just because my schedule is pretty crazy. I typically just do things when I have the time. Will I play fans on stream and chess if we break all-time high? I've played chess on stream before. If you go back and look at some of my older streams, some of the thumbnails are a chessboard. No, there's no cheaper version of the premium list, unfortunately. What do I think about Sora? No opinion on it. No opinion on exchanges. For someone who wants to learn technical analysis, do I recommend a subscription to TradingView? I mean, you can just use the free version of TradingView and be just fine, I think, if you're just learning. D4 or E4? I would say E4. I'm more of a I would say I'm more of a what's it called? I prefer sharp positions to like positional play, so I would say E4. No, I do not get much sleep. I'll be up until like 1 or 2 a.m. tonight with my 1-month-old. Ethereum will flip Bitcoin, says Alpha Gamma. I doubt it, but if it does, it probably won't be that sustainable. Do I have time to offer a full course on TA? No, not really, not right now. I mean, I mean, this is. I mean, you guys see what I do, right? I'm not really hiding much of anything. I'm not gonna recommend any specific wallets. Hey, John's back. John Bartholomew's back on. John, I would, but like if you, I got locked out of my Lead Chess account, so if there's a way that I can challenge you, I will. Um, um, let's see. Standard, real time. Okay, John, I just emailed you a link if you want to play on Lichess. I just emailed you a link. I'm playing as anonymous because I can't log into my account for some reason. But if you want to play, just click the link and we'll play. By the way, guys, if you guys are interested in chess, John Bartholomew does have a good chess channel. Oh, here we go. Alright, this guy is way better than me. And he usually plays... Yeah. He's an international master, so you can see he's 2478, so he's going to kick my butt. Let's keep an eye on Bitcoin. Oh, it's still at 18.5. We got time. Don't worry, it's not a rated game because I'm not playing on a rated account. See, he's x-raying this, so I gotta move the queen. But the problem is he's gonna take that. So I guess the issue here is if I move here and he takes that and I take back, then he gets that for free. Um, uh, This is problematic. If I go here too and he takes and I take, then he gets that and he's going to win the bishop too. Yeah, this guy is way better than me. I could go here. But it's not a good move to do that because then my king is going to be weak, but whatever. if I go here, I guess I'll go here. I feel like I should get rid of that bishop because it's so powerful on that diagonal, but maybe I should go here. He's got this move. Maybe he's actually going here. Yeah, if I go here and then he goes here and then I take, he's got this intermediate move where he can put me in check. I think it's okay. Maybe he'll go here. Actually, I think if he had gone here, it would have been really good, right? Because the queen's under attack, and then he's automatically picking that up. Actually, no, I can go here. Never mind. So I guess I need to go here. And now he's got checkmate. Ah, great. I think that's it. If I take, he's got check, and then I go here, and then he's got, he doesn't have checkmate actually, because then actually he probably does, but I gotta move. Now he has checkmate, right? Because now he can go here. So I need to go here. Yeah, that was, I just moved too quickly. All right, good game. Let's check the price. 18.5, 585. Good game, John. Yeah. So if I had taken, you would have taken. And you're still winning, clearly. So, good game. That was an international master, guys. So that was John Bartholomew, way better than me. John, if you have any tips, I will take them. Jerry says, did we even get close to the 20-week moving average during this recent pullback? No, we did not, because the 20-week moving average is at like 12K, or it was at 12.3, and the pullback only took us to 16K, 16.1, so we didn't even get close. Yeah, I've never played against an international master on stream. He says that rook c8 was a mistake. Probably. Yeah, I agree. Rook c8 was probably a mistake. I think you're talking about. Wait. How do I flip this? Flip. Yeah, he's talking about this move. Yeah, this move here. Because anyway, here. Yeah, I guess I should have done that. And then you take. And I take. Yeah, and then if you go there. Actually, yeah, I could go. Maybe here first. Yeah, you're right. What's my advice for people just learning about Bitcoin now and want to get involved? I would say, generally speaking, that if you don't have any, it's sometimes okay to do a lump sum. It's hard to stomach a lump sum at this point, I think, because of how far away it is from the 20-week. At the same time, you could argue that it's too risky not to hold Bitcoin, so you could always just establish you could always just establish a position and then DCA from there. I mean, if owning Bitcoin, I certainly wouldn't buy at these prices, but if I didn't have any, that would be a different story, and I probably would at least pick up a little bit, with the idea that there's a good chance it's going to come down in the short term. Yeah, John Bartholomew was in the chat. Yeah, if you guys are interested in chess, you guys should check out his channel. He's got a really good one. And he's got like way more subscribers than I do. I already talked about how I got into crypto, so you don't need to earlier in the stream. I do play Settlers of Catan. I have it over there. I have but I mean, I prefer other games that are a little bit more challenging. Right now, I mainly play Through the Ages and Terra Mystica, not that one. Glad you like the channel, John. You can get some Bitcoin options within I mean, there's different options to get it, but through like Roth IRAs and that type of stuff. Can I do a bookshelf video? I mean, I don't know. If you could see the books on the bookshelves, it's primarily a mixture of like math books, physics books, programming books, and because my wife is in nursing books. Is it a bad idea to sell everything at the bull run top and then buy back in the bottom of the bear market? Isn't this exactly what everyone would want to do? Or should you just hold it for the long term? I mean, if you consider that Bitcoin can drop by 80% during a bear market, I think it's certainly reasonable to take profits, because paying taxes on that is paying taxes on the gains would certainly be worth not having to live through like an 80% drop. Looks like Bitcoin's moving a bit here. It's at 18.6. Let's see where Ethereum is at, 587. Oh, we're going to keep an eye on this, though, because we're back above 18.6. Can I discuss the Ethereum Bitcoin channel? We've looked at that. I mean, we looked at it in the stream. I think there's, at least so far, it looks like the momentum shift that we've been talking about, we might be in the beginning stages of, right? And this could continue on for a long time. We'll have to see what happens. It's too early to say if this is just like one of these bunny hills that doesn't go to the top of the channel, or if it's going to take us to the top of the channel. So we're going to keep an eye on it. We recognize that the momentum shift is likely in play, but I don't think this is definitive yet that we're going to go to the top, but we're certainly going to keep an eye on it. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content and give the video a thumbs up. How many digits can I recite pi? I don't know. 3.1459263. Is that right? 3.141599263. I don't know if that, I can't remember if that's right, but that's all I can remember. 3.1415269.3. But maybe I'm missing a digit. I mean, you guys ask me a lot of questions about altcoins, but I mean, honestly speaking, if I don't talk about the coins on my channel, I'm probably not going to have that much of an opinion on them, just because I don't spend that much time looking into them. Someone says I'm holding one Bitcoin, got in with an average price of 10.3. Thinking of accumulating Ethereum and ADA for now. Any input on the best proportion for those two? Thanks, been subscribed. I would say definitely. I don't want to give you an exact number. I do talk about percentages on the premium list, but I don't want to give you an exact number. I will say though, you could do. I would do more Ethereum than ADA, right? Because Ethereum is less risky than ADA. That doesn't mean that ADA will give you a worse return than Ethereum. It just means that in terms of risk-adjusted returns, I would go with more Ethereum. All right, I'm just hiding this guy. Of course I invest in equities. I own more stocks than crypto. I don't see the comments that he read out loud. I mean, I literally just paused the chat and went through the comments. Did I have to lose a lot in the beginning to get where I am today, or have you been fortunate enough to be pretty good since the beginning? Well, I could lie and say that I've always been good, but the answer is yeah, of course I've lost money, and I think, like, you know, living through that, it teaches you a hard lesson, and you either learn how to deal with it and move on, learn from your mistakes, or you let crypto chew you up and spit you out over and over again. Someone posted pi 3.1415926.5. Okay, so I said 3.15. I said 3.1415926.3, but it's 3.1415926.53. So I did miss it there at the end. Why do I never talk about stocks? I do have videos on stocks. If you go back in March, I said the risk on stocks is at incredibly low levels, so it's a really great time to move into the market. And I posted a video like a month or two ago saying, what stock crash? Like, because everyone's calling for another stock crash in 2020. We said, what stock crash? Like, there's no stock crash coming in 2020, or likely not. So again, a lot of what you see on YouTube is just sensational, not really backed by anything other than what will attract clickbait, attract the views, that sort of stuff. We'll see what's Ethereum. Is Ethereum back at 590 yet? No, it is not. We're still sitting humdrum at 586. Make sure you guys subscribe. Let's get to 1,000 likes. We have 927. I think we can make it to 1,000. All right, Andre, anyone is now hidden from the chat for spamming. We also talk about Tesla, some on the channel too. No, I do not do YouTube full time. We've talked about XRP a lot. At what level will the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio top? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it went to what 0.15 last market cycle? If it gets up to that ratio again, I'll be very cautious. Chad is, yeah. If you want to be a troll, we can hide you too. My master's, was it worth it? I did PhD. I would say it was worth it. I mean, I feel like I learned a lot during it. What math would I learn to recommend doing similar analysis to mine? I don't know. I mean, undergraduate math would probably be good enough. I mean, honestly, a lot of it's not that complicated. Historically, has the Ethereum Bitcoin risk ever crossed 0.9? Yeah, it's crossed 0.9 twice. Thanks, Tom. Glad you like the channel. Someone says, should they wait to time the dip? I would say trying to time the dip is really hard. I would just come up with a systematic strategy. For me, it means buying Bitcoin up to a risk level of 0.5. But you know, I mean, if you're new and you just want to accumulate it, you could buy it up to a higher risk level, or just accumulate it for a year and see where it gets you. Ben, what altcoins do I hold? Mainly, I mean, obviously I hold Ethereum, but I don't consider it an altcoin. Link, ADA, and Polkadot are the main three. The Arithmetric stuff is on the premium list, but you can find periodic videos on the public channel if you just search the public channel. Remember, if you guys do want access to the premium content, you can check out the Black Friday deal. We'll run it for about one more week, and then we'll close it up. So make sure you sign up before then if you've been waiting on that and you want to sign up. And I'll post the link in the thing again, chat. Also, we do have a Telegram channel with now over 9,300 people. So if you want to make it 9,400 people, then join the Telegram chat. Oh, look, we're at 1,000 likes. Sweet. But what about 2,000 likes? Would I trade all my Ethereum for Polkadot? Not a snowball. No. No, I would not. Do I see this smaller dump as a change in behavior from the last bull run? No, because I mean the last bull run had several corrections, right? That didn't necessarily go straight to the 20-week. I mean there were corrections here that ultimately then leveled off for a while and then went to the 20-week. We had other days, other weeks where we moved up and had a week of correction, right? Other weeks we moved up and had a week of correction. So there's nothing really necessarily that different. Here's another one, like a really big correction. Another correction, you know, another red candle and then a green candle. Well, I mean, the stream's been going about 2 hours. I feel like we should probably call it soon. What do you guys think? I try to cut it off at around 2 hours because I feel like beyond 2 hours, what more is there left to talk about? Other than to maybe play more chess, right? Other than to play chess, what else is there to talk about? What is the second line on the chart? This is just the 20-week SMA, and the 21-week EMA is the Bitcoin bull market support band. Ben, does my baby like crypto? Well, I asked my 4-year-old if he liked Bitcoin, and he said no. So my ELO's around like 1700 or so. I got my wife a car. Did she get me a PS5? Unfortunately, I don't have time to play video games. I will play chess though, but I don't have time to play video games. What do I think of today's counter trend move where my stream didn't dump the price? Yeah, it's funny. I mean, like 80% of my streams tend to coincide with Bitcoin correcting. But there's been a couple that I did. There's not a specific recommendation in terms of percentage between Bitcoin and Ethereum and XRP. I mean, generally speaking, I would own more Bitcoin than Ethereum, and if you are going to own XRP, I would own way more Ethereum than XRP. Just based on a risk analysis. What are the faint vertical lines? The faint vertical lines are just where the 28-week SMA and the 21-week EMA cross, right? So if you look at the general trend between the 20-week SMA and the 21-week EMA, I've looked at this before. I don't know if I ever did a video on it, but when green is above red, we're doing pretty well. So when green's above red, pretty good. So green is the 21-week EMA, red's the 20-week SMA. Green above red, pretty good. Green below red, not so good, right? Not so good. Generally speaking, here's some times where it kind of went above it a little bit, but generally speaking, if green's above red, it means it's good because the 21-week EMA tends to react quicker, so it'll go up quicker, generally speaking, than the 20-week SMA. So green above red is good. Red above green is typically not so good. Here it switched to green above red, and right here you can see that's when it rallied. And then when red got above green again, that's when we went back down. And then you can see it for yourself, right? Red above green, not really doing a whole lot. Green above red, continuing back up, and now we're back to green above red. So that's generally the green lines are just for me to quickly understand the crosses, the cross in the 20-week and the 21-week, 20-week SMA and the 21-week EMA. They don't do any DeFi stuff on the premium list right now, no. No, I do not day trade stocks. How do I find to do all this? Just don't get a lot of sleep. I mean, I feel like we've gone through a lot of questions. What do you guys think? I mean, we've gone through a lot of questions. We had peak viewers at around 2,000. If I look at the peak viewers, it reached 2008 or so. So we reached around 2,000 viewers. Now we're back down to 1,300. It took a pretty big hit when we started playing chess, but that's okay. Not everyone's perfect. So we're back down to 1,300 viewers. I mean, if there's any more last questions, we'll talk about them. But other than that, we'll probably sign off here in a little bit. What do I think about DeFi? I mean, I think there's a place for it, but I think a lot of projects are just like, putting that keyword in their project name, and most of them will probably just go to zero. Not all of them, though. Of course, there'll be some good ones. I would assume. Colin, glad you've been able to make a lot of Bitcoin. I just started trading with crypto. How long do you think it will take an average person to be somewhat experienced? You probably need to live through one of those nasty like 30-40% corrections that can happen even in a bull run, and that'll at least give you some experience. But I feel like there's nothing quite like waking up on a day and watching your entire portfolio be down like 60-70%, right? That really kind of it's an experience for sure. Who in the chat was here for this? Who in the chat was here for that move? Yeah, so it seems like a lot of people were here. So these people know what it's like to basically wake up and see your portfolio down 60%. But I think a lot of people saw it as an opportunity, honestly. I know some people were scared and some people, sold the bottom because someone has to. But I think for the most part, a lot of the people that were kind of veterans in the crypto space just recognized it for the opportunity that it was. By the way, if you guys follow the risk metric for Bitcoin, it reached 0.12. So I was getting a little bit nervous because it was getting down to the bottom, but it bottomed out at 0.12 risk. Muhammad says he got an earful from the wife. When I say hold the line, I mean hold the line in terms of trying not to let the price go below the 20-week moving average. And I'm not saying anyone specifically should go buy Bitcoin at that point. I'm just saying like hopefully Bitcoin stays above the 20-week. No, I don't think I've strayed far from the strategy. I think I've mostly just stuck to it. She's happy now. She got a BMW from the recent gains. Sounds like a good story. What is your advice for day traders? I don't have any advice for day traders because I'm not a day trader. If you think about it, the main coins we've talked about for the last year, since say the end of 2019, were Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA, right? And since the end of 2019, which is here, Bitcoin, measured from the bottom of these candles in December, Bitcoin is up 160%. Ethereum is up from the end of December, or yeah, from end of December 2019. Well, we started talking about it back in the summer, but from December it's up 372%. Link has done really well. From the end of December, it's up around 670%, and then ADA from the end of December, because it was around 3 or 4 cents at the time, it's up 400% or so. So I think we're doing pretty well so far, and I think we still have a long way to go. I think we should call it, right? I mean, I think we should call it. It's crazy because we have like 1,200 viewers, 1,300 viewers, and like 3 months ago, this would have been like insane for me to have this many viewers. But I think we need to call it. It's getting late here. So why don't we go ahead and call it here? Remember, if you guys like the content, you can check out the premium list. The Black Friday sale will go on for about 1 more week. So check it out to get locked in at the lower rate if you want. And then also check out the Telegram channel. We have over 9,300 people, 9,317. We'll post it there. Check it out. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on the bell icon. Click the bell icon. You don't have to. Whatever. Give the video a thumbs up if you want. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.